So that warning coming from Salt Lake County Emergency Management saying if you're planning to head up a canyon like Big Cottonwood Canyon, not heading to a ski resort, but the backcountry, you can expect potentially some pretty dangerous avalanche conditions with slides almost maybe 100 or a couple hundred feet wide, 5 feet deep, just like that one that killed 4 people last weekend. But add to that, experts say, the complicating factor that this season seems to be busier than ever. Free reign in the mountains, barely touched powder.
Looks pretty fun.
This enticing experience is drawing more and more people in.
The most limited it's almost ever been here, with the most people going into the backcountry, so it's quite crowded.
Backcountry skiing really ramped up during the pandemic, says Wasatch Backcountry Alliance VP Tom Deigel, after ski resorts closed early last March.
It was the tipping point where a lot of people were like, hey, I want to keep skiing. And if I get this gear that I can hike uphill with, I can do that.
An enthusiasm that carried over into this season, he says. The season so far challenged by a weak, unstable snowpack, forcing people into the same small pockets of terrain.
It has the potential to push people, if they want to get untracked turns, it has potential for people to go perhaps step over the line, and it's a very subtle line between safe and scary avalanche conditions and terrain.
Last weekend, 2 different groups ended up on the tragic side of that line. A mammoth avalanche killed 4 people. Another in the Uintas took out a group of snowmobilers who miraculously survived but had to dig out. Tom has been there.
A friend was buried 6 feet deep in an avalanche, and I was able to dig him out barely alive.
He and Craig Gordon from the Utah Avalanche Center know others could end up in that same spot this weekend.
We've got a series of storms headed our way this weekend, and we know the avalanche danger is going to start to ramp up.
With more and more people heading out for fun in search of the same untracked snow, they urge.
Simply tone our slope angles down, stick with some gentle rolling terrain with no steep slopes above or adjacent to us.
This is not a year to experiment. It's really challenging.
So Gordon says turn those slope angles down. That means 30 degrees or under. And for snowmobilers, this is especially important. He said stick to those wide open meadows. Do not be adjacent or under even lower slopes, because that can be deceiving. And of course, if you are heading into the backcountry this weekend up here or somewhere else, please check conditions before you head out. Live at the mouth of Big Cottonwood Canyon, Lauren Steinbrecher, Fox 13 News, Utah.